Hey, how you doing? So, Absolute DC. I don't need to explain what it is. If you don't want to talk about, look at my Ninja Turtles video. So, Marvel Ultimates is ending quite soon. That includes with the titles like Ultimate Spider-Man, The Ultimates, Ultimate Black Panther, all ending in a really, really, really short time span, which isn't very long. Unlike Absolute DC, where it's still going to this very day. But Ultimate Marvel is doing what Absolute DC isn't doing, and you want to present that point to us, Chip. This is Chip. Everyone, say hi.
Hello. Also, yeah. So my complaint for what the Ultimate Universe isn't doing is that it's really not doing anything that different from like the main 616 universe. Like the biggest differences I can think of is that last I heard, Sabretooth was a good guy. Apparently, don't know where that went, and pretty much anything to do with Ultimate X-Men. But that's really because Ultimate X-Men is X-Men in name only. But aside from those two things, they're really not doing anything that different.
So, me and Chip the Furrier has presented an idea. What if Marvel actually had an Absolute Universe, and we're not just taking what Chip has said here, where we're taking like one thing from 616 and slightly altering it. No, we're going with the full and absolute route, where we're taking one fundamental aspect about their character and stripping them away from them and seeing what happens.
Yeah, and I think we said each of us get three characters.
That's right. You get three. I get three.
Yeah,
We do two characters and one team.
yeah.
We'll go one by one here. You go first, and I go next. So your first absolute character. What is it?
So the first thing I decided to do was the Absolute X-Men because they are like a very important group to Marvel. Like that's an undeniable fact at this point. And pretty much I figured out that what would happen to the X-Men if you took away two things: their unity and the large prejudice that the world has against them. But that part's not really as important as their unity. That's just something else I kind of realized I took away as well. The main thing though is that they're not as united as they were before. Like they're all kind of doing their own thing. But the basic plot is that mutants are better accepted in this world than they are in the 616, to the point where they're allowed to be politicians and stuff like that. They're still not widely accepted, they're just better accepted. And Charles Xavier, he and like a couple other mutants, probably like the first class mutants, stuff like that, founded their own town. And I forgot what I named the town after. I think I named it after one of his wives from the comic books. I can't really remember her name though. But they're all they're
Great
all
job.
they're all gone by this point. Charles Xavier, he is fucking dead. And the founding mutants are all doing their own thing because after Charles, even before Charles died, they all kind of had a falling out and just did their own thing. And pretty much this town is now led by a council, which, for the most part, is always arguing with each other, trying to figure out what's best for the town in general. But there's one thing that's kind of keeping them together, and that is Scott Summers. He's not really the official leader, he's just kind of the guy who inspires them the most, who kind of keeps them unified and helps compromises. And this first issue would follow him for about half of it, probably. We would see him, we would see his wife Jean Grey, their teenage son Nathan, who is Cable in the comics. I'm pretty sure he has a brother, which is why I decided to make it to where Jean was pregnant, because without their prejudices that in dealing with like X-Men stuff, I imagine Scott and Jean would be a lot more comfortable to be starting a bigger family than they are. And pretty much we just see him go around town, we get to see a bunch of familiar faces, and the most important stop he makes is at the sheriff's department, where we would get to see his brother Havoc. I'm kind of on the fence about this, but maybe Kitty Pryde is the receptionist. I don't know yet. But we would also get to see some characters like Remy, who's in jail because the sheriff threw him in there because he was accusing him of cheating at poker. Or we get to see Nightcrawler, who in this universe is a lot more depressed and not as religious as he is in the comics. That's important later on, though. That doesn't matter. And I know that sounds like I'm dropping a lot of names, but all these characters will serve a purpose at some point if I ever decide to do something with this. But the most important person he talks to there is Magic, who I think her name is Ilanya. I can't really remember, but pretty much
I think so. Yeah, I think you said right.
Okay, good. But pretty much she got arrested because she beat the crap out of her neighbor. He's in the hospital now. And Scott's like, oh, god damn it, not this again. This is like the third time you beat the crap out of somebody. She's pretty much just like a known problem child, and Scott's getting tired of it. So he gives her like a speech saying she has a lot more potential than just beating up guys and getting thrown in jail. And he brings up how she's an artist, and he says, why don't you focus on that art? That art's a very special part of you. That should be what people remember you for instead of being a problem child. And that kind of does speak to her a little bit. And he leaves, he goes home. Yeah. And that is when we would change perspective suddenly. We would see a beat up truck driving through the town. This is the sheriff. We would see him toying with some dog tags of his, smoking a cigar. And then when he's driving, he notices a house is on fire. And it's not just any house, it's the Summers house. So he drives over there as fast as he can to figure out what the hell's going on. And he finds Magic just standing there, staring at the fire. She's crying and she's confused and stuff. So when he walks over, he puts a hand on her shoulder and she turns around and she says, Sheriff Creed? And that's pretty much where we would end it. And, yeah. Like, I kind of wanted people to think that it would be Logan who would be the sheriff, because it's like, oh, if the X-Men were a small town, of course Logan would be the sheriff. No.
Logan as the sheriff would definitely track, but like for the sake of your like set for like X-Men without the unity, I think keep Logan out. So we can like focus on the other characters.
He isn't gonna have as large of a role in what I'm envisioning. So okay. So there is like a small thing I'm sure some people have noticed is that a lot of the absolute X-Men are missing something. The X-Men in general missing their unity. Xavier, Nightcrawler is missing his faith and belief that people can be more.
Okay, I have a question with that. So would Nightcrawler in this universe would be like comic Moon Knight, where he has like no faith in his religion whatsoever, and that's what makes him interesting?
Yeah, pretty much. And Sabretooth, in the mainline comics, something I've always noticed is that he's had a couple stints where he was a straight-up good guy. And that was because he didn't have his bloodlust. So I was like, okay, for an absolute universe, Sabretooth without his bloodlust would probably be what mainline Logan is, except probably a little bit more mean-spirited. Big differences. So then when I was thinking about Sabretooth, of course I had to think about, well, what's Wolverine up to? Wolverine is a family man. He has a farm in the town, and he's just living a very happy life. Like, that's what absolute Wolverine is up to. He's not a very violent man. In fact, he is pretty
Logan happy for once. Yeah, what?
He is pretty much what Nightcrawler was in the X-Men cartoon, in that one episode where Nightcrawler helped Logan rediscover his
which one? 97 or Evolution?
The old one, like the 97 show, yeah.
Okay.
You said 97, I thought you meant X-Men 97. But yeah, it's the same show.
Well, technically they're the same show.
Yeah, they're the same show. It doesn't matter. It's just a new season. Who cares? But yeah, that's where Logan would be. And pretty much the series would follow Sabretooth as he just investigates who murdered Cyclops. Like, who did it? It's pretty much.
Oh, I didn't catch the merged Cyclops part because I think that part got cut out. I didn't quite hear.
Great of a job explaining it either, but no, the house was on fire because Cyclops he's just straight up dead. So Creed out who murdered.
Okay,
Cyclops.
So my media literacy, what's telling me is that what you are presenting is Riverdale, but with mutants.
I mean, not really Riverdale. It's not really a teen drama thing. It would probably be more like Twin Peaks, I guess.
Twin Peaks. I never seen Twin Peaks.
I guess it would be more like the Hopper side of Stranger Things season 1. Nothing at all like the kids element, just the Hopper stuff.
Okay, yeah. So like Hopper, if he got his own spinoff and has superpowers. Alright, got it.
Pretty much, yeah.
Alright, sick.
And that's pretty much all I had for X-Men. I have a lot of ideas. Maybe I'll come back to it eventually. I don't know.
Alright. Yours is a lot more lengthy than what I've written down, so yeah.
I'll probably try to cut something. I don't know.
Alright, yeah, for sure. All right, since Chip started with the team, I'm gonna start with the team. The absolute Guardians of the Galaxy. The human cyborg, the Warhead, sends the Nova Corps by his order to capture alien immigrants to send them to a concentration camp in the center of the known galaxy. We follow Yondu, Sakarna Gord, Vance Astro, and Charlie 27, who are refugees in a Nova Corps prison as they make their escape, but with the Zendarian AI, the World Mind, targeting them and try to kill them before they escape. So essentially, we're following immigrants and it's a slasher with a robot trying to kill them.
Okay, so it's like Guardians of the Galaxy Prison Break.
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay, that could be cool. What was like the missing element of that though?
The missing element is that they lost like their family dynamic. They weren't brought together by the like joint trauma or anything. That they're literally just like a bunch of people that are like thrown into a prison by some like bigot space operation. You know?
Okay, that could be pretty cool. Kind of gives me From Dusk Till Dawn vibes for some reason, even though it's nothing like that. I don't know why that popped up in my head. It just did. That could be cool.
Yeah, there's no vampires in this one.
Space vampires.
No. Ooh, you know what? Are there Marvel space vampires?
Probably.
Yes. My segment is over. So now we are coming back to Chip here. So he can like talk about his absolute Marvel character.
All right. So the next absolute Marvel character I had was Absolute Daredevil. And when you think Absolute Daredevil, you're like, yeah, I'm pretty sure I know where this is going. How much can you really do? What else can you really do with an Absolute Daredevil? So pretty much, we can all agree. Probably the most important aspect about Daredevil's character is his faith. And so,
Yes.
to put it simply, you just take that away. And in my mind, faith and belief are two different things. So he still believes in all of these things. He just doesn't have faith in God because he's lived a very troubled life in this one. Except he didn't really find God this time. Instead, he kind of just latched on to all the angry feelings he had growing up. And then when he became Daredevil, he became a lot meaner and a lot more brutal. Probably more like the Ben Affleck movie, but with a better costume. And the first issue would kind of be normal at first. Like, we would just see Matt Murdock walking, minding his own business until he comes across a TV where the news is talking about how a little girl got killed in a drive-by, and the son of the town's favored politician, Wilson Fisk, was being accused of being a part of the crime. And we would just see Matt Murdock walking with Foggy. He would walk past that news broadcast, go to the court, where he would try his best as a persecutor instead of a defendant, a defense lawyer. He's just a straight-up persecutor now. He's trying to persecute Wilson Fisk's son, trying to lock him up for the rest of his days for getting that girl killed, because he pretty much in the Marvel show, he said they only defended innocent people, and he would tell if they are innocent by using his senses to pick up heartbeats or something like that. I can't quite remember. Pretty much just that, but now he does that with guilty people. But the court gets thrown out because Wilson Fisk is a politician, and he pulls strings, and he makes evidence disappear, and the case gets dismissed pretty quickly. So Richard, his son, he thinks he's safe. He's out partying. He's going to clubs. And then the Daredevil shows up. I think he would probably look a lot scarier too, but he chases Richard throughout the club. What? You muted yourself.
I was muted, sorry. Yeah, when you picture like an absolute Daredevil, you have to like think about the most terrifying fucking shit you could possibly fucking think of, because this is the absolute universe we're talking about here.
Yeah, he is scary as hell. He is mean as hell. If anybody tries to stop him, he's not gonna hold back. So like, if security guards got in the way when he was chasing Richard, he wouldn't kill him, but he would break their bones and like probably make them lose an eye or something. So picture.
Is he gonna be like super fucking buff with spikes on his shoulders?
No, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not going for the exaggerated absolute stuff. But he pretty much chases Richard into the subway, and this is probably where I'm gonna lose you. But I did take a lot of influence from the Ben Affleck movie.
Why would you ever do that?
Well, because in my opinion, it's really not that bad of a movie, but also because what I was going for with this is I wanted him to be a lot more mean like he was in the movie, because that movie was about him regaining his faith instead of always having it from the beginning. But he chases Richard down to the subway like he did to the guy at the beginning of that movie, and he breaks his leg and he drops him on the railways so he can get run over by the upcoming train. And while it's coming, Richard's begging him, saying, "Oh, I'll give you all the money," and stuff like that. But instead of some quippy one-liner, Daredevil just stands there and stares at him until the train comes by and runs him over.
So Daredevil here is like going full Frank Castle with
Yes.
this.
And that's where I get to my next part, because as soon
Oh,
as he
fuck.
dies, who comes but Detective Castle and Detective DeWolf.
What? No way.
And guess what? Frank Castle's family isn't dead in this
Okay.
universe.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
I actually haven't decided if I'm gonna kill off his family. Probably not, because I want these characters to contradict each other like how they did in the show, but reversed.
Oh, that's smart. Switching them. I like that. I like that actually.
So, Frank Castle, he is a loving family man. His family's still alive. He got back from the war, but he just couldn't put down the gun. You know, like a lot of bad people are still out there. It's just he has to apply to it differently. He does still use some war tactics. He is fine with killing, but not to the degree Daredevil is. Which brings me to the next part of this, where he and DeWolf chase down Daredevil. DeWolf gets lost. Castle finds Daredevil. But we kind of find out they're somewhat working together. It's more like they have an understanding. Frank doesn't approve of how violent he is, about how a lot of people get caught in the crossfire, but he understands that Wilson Fisk is corrupt. So it's more like the enemy of my enemy is my friend type thing. It's not really he's fully supportive of everything he does, because he does still beat up his friends and cripple them, and he doesn't really care about casualties as much, but they still have a common goal. So after that, Daredevil gets away, and what happens else aside from Wilson Fisk learning about his son's death? And we would get to see that Wilson Fisk is not how he is in the 616 universe. Instead of this big, buff man with a demanding presence, he is a frail, skinny man with brittle bones disease, like Mr. Glass from Unbreakable. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, you cut off. What was that?
Well, I was saying Wilson Fisk is like skinny and frail, like Mr. Glass from Unbreakable.
Oh, okay. I don't think I've seen that movie.
Okay, picture a white Samuel L. Jackson with crutches.
Okay, yeah.
Or you could picture Jared Leto from Morbius before he became a vampire. I don't know. Whatever is easier.
Okay. So you make Wilson Fisk skinty. All right.
Skinny and frail, yeah. And he's pretty much just...
You made him anorexic.
Yeah. I'm also sick, so I'm... yeah. And he is talking to this person, saying like, "Oh, I want you to kill Daredevil." And this isn't really meant to be that much of a surprise, because Wilson Fisk is talking to somebody about killing Daredevil. Who else could it really be aside from Bullseye?
Wow, big shocker. Wilson Fisk having beef with Daredevil. Wow.
But yeah, there was a lot of influences from the Ben Affleck movie, because I kind of like the story that movie was going for. I don't think it was as bad as a lot of people think it is. I don't think it's top 10 superhero movies at all, but it's entertaining, and I thought it had a good...
If you said that, I would judge you harshly.
No, I can acknowledge it's corny, it's cheesy, but it had a lot of good aspects to it. For starters, Corey Feldman is Bullseye. Like, come on. Not Corey Feldman. Oh my gosh, what's
Colin Farrell?
Colin Farrell. I don't know why, but I always got those two mixed up. But yeah, Colin Farrell.
What? Because their names both start with the letter C. Like,
I don't know, but no, Colin Farrell as Bullseye was such a blast. He was so fun, and
he was mad at Corey in that movie, bro. Like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I loved it, and also like Kingpin in that movie. Genuinely, he was just great. Like, not even to a corny degree, he was just genuinely a great Kingpin. But I also liked in that movie that it was also kind of doing what I'm going for in Absolute Daredevil, where he doesn't quite have his faith as he does in the comics. It's a lot more.
So is Matt Murdock here like going like full atheist or what?
No, he believes he believes in God and the devil and all those stuff. He just doesn't have faith that God is doing what he's supposed to. Is pretty much what it is.
Okay.
So he's like, if God's not gonna do anything, I'll do it. Kind of mindset.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. But yeah, he's pretty much Punisher Daredevil. Just think Ben Affleck Daredevil. That's pretty much what I'm going for, except a lot more gothic and if Daredevil was a horror slasher villain.
Okay,
Not a
sick.
villain,
I
but-
actually like that. You said I wasn't gonna like it, but I actually do like this quite a bit.
That was because I'm taking influence from the Ben Affleck, not Batman, Ben Affleck Daredevil.
Mm-hmm.
And we haven't talked about that much, but when we do talk about it, it sounds like you hate it. So I was just like, oh, he might not be thrilled about that.
But no, friggin' like serial killer Daredevil or like whatever you have here, and like Detective Frank Castle, I actually quite dig that quite a bit. I would read that like 110%.
I think that would be cool.
Get Chip Zdarsky to do that run. That'll be fucking great.
Okay.
All right, so you're done with your segment.
Yeah, I'm done with Daredevil.
Okay, sick. All right, my next absolute Marvel character is Absolute Captain America. All right, in this universe. Wait, hold on. Let me start over. Sorry. In this universe, Steve Rogers believes that the American system has failed us. Even when he came back from the ice in World War II, he sees the system still failing modern America. So for a long time, he's been a puppet to the government's war, right? So he rebels. He takes his old uniform, paints it all black, and paints the anarchy symbol on his head where the classic A used to be. Steve Rogers, now in the modern day, Steve Rogers in this universe is a Marxist anarchist who stands for not a better America, not a better tomorrow, but stands on what the system is supposed to be, instead of pretending and acting like things are going to get better, when in actuality, it's not going to be. He is Captain America for the people, not the U.S. government.
Mm-hmm. That is similar to an idea I had, but it is different enough, obviously. I do like it. It's a good setup.
All right, it's like, yeah, I went for Marxist Captain America here. What else could I do? Right, like
Spider-Punk Captain America.
You caught what was that?
Spider-Punk Captain America.
Pretty much, yeah. I don't know if Captain America exists in the Spider-Punk universe. I don't know if he.
I think it is, and he dated Spider-Punk too.
Okay, yeah. So that's all I have for my absolute Captain America here. Again, like I said, these are very short. I thought we were gonna have like one paragraph, like fucking sentences or some shit like that. But
like the full-on pitch when I was thinking.
You cut off again, dude. I'm so sorry.
I said I was thinking it was more like a pitch than just like a basic idea.
Oh yeah. But I think we're still doing good work anyway. But now your final Marvel absolute character. Pitch, my friend.
This one I think I have the most attachment to, and I had to fart. I didn't want to get it on camera, but this idea I think I have the most attachment to. Like I kind of like it a lot, and it is Absolute Scarlet Witch. So
Scarlet Witch. I thought you were gonna do Vision.
I was thinking about doing Absolute Vision for a while, but I was like, okay, what would a series about Absolute Vision look like? And it looks like it started to look like something that isn't really something I would write. Like it looked a lot more existential, something that like Alan Grant, some stuff that Grant Morrison, that was his name. Some stuff
Grant Morrison, yeah.
Right, like Animal Man, that kind of stuff. And I was just like, that's not really something I would write. So I was like, okay, what else can I do? And then I thought of it, and I was like, Absolute Scarlet Witch. Everything else here in my list has somewhat turned into like a horror story. Like Absolute X-Men is a murder mystery. Absolute Daredevil is a slasher. So I was like, okay, Scarlet Witch can kind of fit in with that theme. And pretty much for this, I was just like, okay, what can I take away from Scarlet Witch? Her support system. That is a very important part of her. It's something that's kept her from going back to full villainy, even though comic writers don't really know how to write. Sometimes, I don't mean to knock on comic writers, but oh my gosh, the mischaracterization the constant mixed characterization just in general in comics everywhere. But yeah, for Scarlet Witch, I was just like, take away her support system. No Magneto, no Quicksilver, no Vision, none of that. And I was just like, well, she can't have been alone her entire life. So it starts out with Wanda living in an orphanage where all the other orphans and even the nuns treat her like crap, saying, oh, you're the daughter of the devil, nobody will want you. Just being incredibly mean. And she never really understood why. It's like, I have powers, but so does like a million other kids in this universe. And it's just kind of that mindset. So when she turns 18, they immediately kick her to the road, and they're like, you're somebody else's problem now. You're a grown-ass adult. Go away. We don't want you here. And that's when she's found by Absolute Agatha Harkness. Absolute Agatha Harkness. And she's a lot younger. She's probably closer to Wanda's age, maybe like 4 or 5 years older. So she takes her in, and she's like, hey, I also have powers like yours, but we're not mutants, we're not superheroes, we're witches. We do magic and stuff like that. So she helps Wanda understand that. She takes her to her home, which is pretty much just a shop where they sell stuff, and Agatha works as a supernatural private investigator, pretty much. So when she's doing that, she's kind of leaving Wanda by herself to run the shop. Until one day, Wanda makes her own friends. Like, she meets people who are her age, and she was like, oh, I didn't really get to experience friends in high school, and I'm probably never going to get to college, so it's like, this is probably like the next big thing. And she kind of has her rebellious, I can't speak today, holy crap. And she kind of has her rebellious teenager phase where she kind of bails out on Agatha a couple times and tries showing off her magic to her friends, like, oh, look at all this cool stuff I can do, guys. And it goes well for a while. Like, she feels accepted for once by these other kids who are, I haven't really decided if they're going to be other Marvel characters or not. And then one day, that all goes incredibly wrong. She's about to leave with her friends. They're at the shop at first, but then she hears a voice whispering to her when she's about to leave, saying Scarlet Witch, and she's confused. But then she steps out, and she and her friends are attacked by a demon. Like, the demon straight up kills half of her friends, wounds the rest of them. They make it to the shop where the demon keeps trying to get in to get to Wanda, and then Agatha shows up. She tries to banish the demon. Wanda sees a second demon is there and trying to attack Agatha, so she steps out to try to help, because, you know, that's pretty much her older sister. And then the demons turn their focus to her. They attack her, but then she kind of loses control of her magic again and seemingly kills the demons, but also Agatha. Like, everything that she found is just straight up gone. Like, I kind of wanted a little bit of Carrie in here. I kind of want it to be as chaotic as the final scene from Carrie. So now that she's lost everything, she kind of just doesn't want to get the rest of her friends killed, because she got half of her friends killed by using her magic, which is what attracted those demons, and then she seemingly killed her sister. So she just goes off. She just starts walking aimlessly, doesn't really care where. She starts starving herself. She just walks till exhaustion until she collapses at one point. And I just wanted this first issue to end on a very depressing note. So it ends with her just curling up and crying, because all she hears now is just the screams of her friends and Agatha, just constantly. And obviously it wouldn't stop there. Like, it's a whole series. I'm not that much of an asshole. But it's like, when I thought about that...
That sounds fucking horrific. Oh my god.
It is, and it gets worse for her.
What's up with you and making people depressed? Oh my god.
I like making people depressed so that when they win, it feels especially good.
Okay, that's fair enough. That's what storytelling is all. That's what storytelling is, basically.
It's just like when I thought about, oh, where could I go from here? I started getting a lot of ideas. So I think out of all the absolute pitches I did today, this is probably the one I'm going to do something with in my head the most. But it's probably going to be disconnected from Marvel so that I could actually do something with it, probably make it an actual thing. So I'm also interested as to where.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely more interested in your Absolute Daredevil. That one actually intrigues me. It reminds me a lot of what they're doing with Absolute Green Arrow right now, where it's like a horror detective story where like Green Arrow's the killer and Black Canary is the detective.
I might do something fun with that. I don't know. I haven't really figured it out yet. Maybe like a quick movie script, just for fun. I don't know.
I would agree with you, but you're kind of up on my end, so I can't.
I said I could probably just make like a movie script out of this.
Okay, yeah.
Just a quick little one-shot movie for fun.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I would watch that.
I think it could be cool. But yeah, that's it for me on my side of the Absolute Universe Marvel.
Okay, yeah. So here it is. My final Absolute Marvel character for the night is the Absolute Sentry.
When you mentioned this, I was kind of curious as to what you could do with it, so I'm interested in this.
All right, here it is. Bob Burns was born with an entity in his head called the Void. Bob is a tainted soul. His father beats him. He treats people badly. He creates victims at everyone he knows. But the biggest one that is abused is the Void. Bob puts the Void beneath him. Nothing but the scum under his shoe to him, having full control over his demons, grabbing them by the neck. The Void is an internal victim inside Bob's head. The Void isn't the sickness that was born inside of Bob. Bob is the sickness. We follow the Void as he deals with the abuse of the inhumanity that is Bob Reynolds.
Okay.
So like what I'm doing here is like switching the roles in between the Void and Sentry, because I'm taking the Thunderbolts route, where it's like an allegory for depression and like not what was like in the original comics at all, where like the human is the sickness but not the sickness itself. Like picture Absolute Martian Manhunter, but like the roles reversed.
Okay, I could get behind that. That sounds cool. I think that's probably the one I am most interested in from your side of the Absolute.
All right, cool, yeah, because I wanted to do Absolute Sentry, but I couldn't quite figure out what to do with it. But then it clocked, and I was like, oh, switch the roles. That's like the coolest shit I ever thought of in my life. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Absolute Sentry. And to keep the video going, we'll do like a bonus character, like someone that couldn't make it into the cut. So like, do you have a bonus character that you didn't include in the video that you wish you could? Like someone you didn't have like a whole lot of ideas for, and so you can just mention it here.
I mean, like I said, that would probably be the Absolute Vision I was thinking of, where it would be a lot more thought-provoking and stuff like that. But it's just like another reason why I didn't do that is because, like, okay, who the hell would have made Ultron? Because I don't want to do Tony Stark and Hank Pym or Hank Pym in an Absolute Ultron run, because then it'd be like, oh, now we have Absolute Ant-Man. What's his deal? I want to know what his deal is. And she's like, Absolute Vision would probably have to be like Absolute Vision would probably have to be a side character in like an Absolute Ultron spin-off of Ant-Man or something like that. But it's just like, aside from that, I guess Absolute Spider-Man, where like I was telling you, it was if Uncle Ben never died. Peter doesn't stop ring fighting, just like in that one What If story, but he doesn't become like a rich manager asshole. He just stays a cage fighter. Like he stays with that. His costume is probably a bit more
like macho wrestler, more of the wrestler type.
Macho. And he's a lot more arrogant, like he would be if he had the symbiote on, but not as extreme. And it's pretty much, he is just a lot meaner in general. I don't really know what his villains would look like, but he would just be this...
I mean, you can make them wrestlers as well.
I could, but then it's just like, oh, that's WWE, and I don't really care for WWE. So I think that's probably another reason why I didn't go with Spider-Man, is because I was like, okay, I don't really know what his villains would look like.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. I also was gonna go with Absolute Spider-Man, but so what I would have done is go with the Absolute Superman route, which, funny enough, because I just bought this today. Just have flicked that. Anyway, so I decided to take the Absolute Superman route, where they take away his humanity entirely, where he doesn't meet the Kents till like way later on in his life. So with like Absolute Peter Parker here, my version of Absolute Peter Parker, I would have taken away Aunt May and Uncle Ben. and essentially just man Billy Batson, where he's going from like foster home to foster home, and essentially being a superhero like on the side. But like I didn't have like a lot outside of that, so that didn't end up making it here.
Yeah, pretty much the same reason for me.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, before we cap off the video here, Chip, did you want to say anything?
No, I just think this was fun to talk about.
All right, yeah, absolutely. I also had fun making this video as well. Yeah, I think my favorites of what I made so far are Absolute Captain America and Absolute Sentry. And my favorites from what you have done are Absolute X-Men and Absolute Daredevil.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely liked the Absolute Sentry. I am curious as to what that would look like. I think it would also probably be a lot more thought-provoking as well.
Mm-hmm.
Potentially.
Alright, yeah. So, that's it for this video. Hope you liked it. I would love to do more videos with Chip over here, talking about, nerd shit like this. So, if you like the video, comment what you think, subscribe if you want to, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.
Lifeless eyes, black eyes like a doll's eye.